Welcome. How's everybody doing today? It's absolutely beautiful here. I live in San Francisco, and it's about 25 degrees warmer here than it is at home. So it's amazing. Since I saw you guys had so much snow this year, I'm pretty blown away. What I'm doing today is focusing on spring. 5 simple ingredients, very easy for these guys to participate at home. Okay, strawberry and fava bean salad. Okay, so there's 2. We have balsamic vinegar, and then we have pecorino cheese and arugula. Most kids like cheese, right? Most kids like strawberries. So my whole goal is put the familiar with the unfamiliar. So you get them to eat one, and they're a little bit more willing to try the other, right? Balsamic vinegar's sweet. It has natural sugars in it from its aging in those barrels. Cheese is a good source of protein. Fava beans are a good source of protein. And then strawberries, well, every kid likes strawberries. They'll eat them till their face is glowing red, right? So there's a really good friend of mine named Tom Clicchio. When I was a really young cook, like, that's going to date him. I'm pretty, he's a lot older than me. Let's just go with that. He said to me, what grows together goes together. And right now in California, fava beans and strawberries are everywhere. Can you guys hear me? It sounds like I'm in a wind tunnel, doesn't it? It's okay? All right. I am in the wind tunnel. Here we go. Is that a little better? So what I started thinking about a lot was strawberries in dessert in Italy are always served with balsamic vinegar and a little bit of black pepper. And I thought to myself, well, that sounds like a salad. So how can I use that everyday dessert that you find all the time in Italy? How can I use that in a salad at the restaurant? How can I introduce strawberries? Because one of my farmers called me and said, Chris, I have a bumper crop. I need to sell strawberries. I can only make so much strawberry jam, so much strawberry lemonade, right? So many strawberries desserts. I had to come up with something for a savory salad, right? So I sat there and I pondered and I started trying things. And when he came in, when Andy, my farmer from Mariquita, came in, he had fava beans in the same truck. And he put them down together next to each other, and just the light bulb went off. And it made a lot of sense. So I'm going to show you guys a couple tricks. I have some that have been peeled. So at the restaurant, we like to call this the fancy French way. This is that you peel it twice before you blanch it. I'm going to do the not so fancy guy way. So peeling these at home or at the restaurant, a lot of times everybody sits there and just snaps them, right? How many of you eat fava beans? How many of you have them at home? A lot of times they're dried, right? We see them dried. They make them into puree, favetta. Okay, so I was very fortunate. I had a young man who came from England, and he was a stagiaire with me, and he came from Jamie Oliver's 15 program. Are you guys all familiar with Jamie Oliver and 15? 15 picks 15 kids. Well, I took the first kid and brought him out of Europe and brought him to the United States, and he lived with me for almost 2 years, and he came to me with this really brilliant idea. I never would have thought it. He's like, I'll do that whole case of fava beans in a quarter of the time that any of your guys can do it. You know, and he was a stagiaire, so he wasn't really making a lot of money, and I bet him $50 that he couldn't finish a full case of shelled fava beans in 20 minutes. Well, I lost $50 because he took a peeler. He had one box and then a container to catch, and he peeled all the sides. And he did one whole case. He just sat there and peeled. Boom, dropped him down. That's the easiest way to peel fava beans. And then what happens is because I've peeled it, it's actually taken off that second skin a little bit, so it's easier to peel them again. So it makes life really easy, okay? And I mean, who doesn't like fava? Just, come on, other than these guys, they don't like fava beans. Are you guys gonna try a fava bean if I give you one? Am I allowed to give them fava beans? Is that okay? You wanna try one? Once it's cooked? You will? Okay, all right, that's a deal. So I'm gonna get a couple of these done and I'll show you what I do, all right? But see, the strawberries I know you like, so you don't get one of those. Unless you eat the fava bean. There's the deal, all right? At my house, I have a little, how old are you guys? 7, 9. My little boy's 10. And we do something called a no thank you bite at my house. And this is great for all parents, okay? It's amazing. One, it's hard having a child being a chef because, you know, they always think they know what's right and wrong, especially in the kitchen. So we have a very simple plan. At the house, he has to tell me, he has to take one bite no matter what it is. I don't care if we're at somebody's house, a restaurant. then he has to give me one solid reason why he does not like it. And it can't be because it's yucky or it smells funny. It has to be, I don't like the texture, it's too bitter, it's too sweet, it's too salty, it's too fun. So he has to have a really good explanation of why he doesn't like it. Like, he doesn't like shrimp because he said it's tasteless, which to me is pretty funny because a lot of kids like shrimp. Hates macaroni and cheese because he said it's too gooey. Right? So, I mean, it's really smart way to get them to try things that they wouldn't try normally, right? All right, so I'm going to do these real quick. Or I could be here all day just shelling beans and talking. And if anybody has questions, just shout them out. I'll answer anything you want. We got a microphone over here that I'm sure that everybody could get on there. So does everybody cook at home? Yeah, you cook for large groups? Because this one's a good one. The best part about fava beans, you get all your friends to come over. Because everybody knows that the kitchen is like the living room, right? You're cooking, you have people over. Where does everybody hang out? Everybody hangs out in the kitchen. So you get them to come over and you have them shell fava beans. Okay? Don't do them when you're on your own. Right? I mean, we go through about 6 cases every 2 days of fava beans. Each case weighs about 35 pounds. So when you start shelling that down, you lose about half the weight because the pod is, of course, okay, more. So what I've got here is salted boiling water. But then what I do is I actually salt my ice water. Does anybody know why? And you can do this with anything you blanch. You guys are known for like the king of AC, right? You guys in the summer, I lived here. I lived in DC, okay? I lived here for about 3 years, and I worked at Red Sage, and I worked at Kincaid's, and this was my first place of work after I left culinary school. And the summers here are hot, right? So I'd leave work, and it'd be really hot, and I'd get home, and you'd walk inside, and the AC would be cranking, and everybody does what? Ugh, you shiver, right? Your body clenches up real tight. It's the same thing with vegetables. So you got it in really hot water, and then you put it in really cold water, so it sucks in plain, bland water. Why would you want to do that? Right? You want to add flavor to it. Also, the salt helps keep the ice colder, right? You know when you add salt outside, right? When it's all, weather's horrible, you got ice on the driveway, it first freezes again really hard, it sets up really hard, and then it breaks down again. Same thing with here, it really drops the temperature of this ice, okay? So, I'm gonna do these beans first, then I'll do the other beans. So, I don't want them to go too long. If you cook them too long, they lose their color and they lose their nice texture. You want them to be cooked through and creamy, because that to me is what's best about the bean, okay? Am I going too fast? You're good. Have you guys seen how fast she is? It's pretty amazing. I love it. Wish I could do that. So what I'm looking for, the pod will puff a little bit, okay? So you have the double skin. So this skin will start to pull away from the actual bean inside. It'll give a little bit of gap, and that's when I know it's done. So if you have a really full boil, which I wish I could say I do right now, but I don't, but you know, we're working with it. You can see it puff a little bit. Take them out with a little strainer. Yeah, about a second longer. And here's the little sneaky trick. Put the strainer in. So your hand isn't in the bowl fishing it out and you're trying to get one bean at the bottom, right? It happens with green beans, broccoli, asparagus, everything. Whenever we shock stuff, we do it so it keeps nice and bright and it also, you keep all the nutrients. So if you put a strainer in here, you can just, and you don't even have to put your hands in, so you don't get like freezing cold hands. All right, here we go. Any questions? Anyone? Anyone? Wow. Nothing at all? All right, so these are the ones that if you go to that like super French restaurant where they have like all this labor and there's like all these kids sitting in the back peeling and peeling. What's up, dude?
How long does it take to cook this?
How long does it take? Well, if I kept my mouth shut and just cooked it, I could have the salad done in like 5 minutes. But I'm trying to make sure you guys know about everything. So to cook the fava beans, when they're out of the shell, usually takes about 1 minute in salted water. Do you want to try one raw or do you want to try one cooked? Try it raw? Okay. Hang on, I'll have more in a minute, guys. Wow, now I got kids wanting to try beans. How did I do this? Okay, guys. Bean, raw beans. They're okay, they're good for it. They're not bad. When they're raw, they're okay. Bet you didn't think you'd see that, did you? Okay, I got a couple more, and then I got to save some for the salad, or we're going to be out of luck, right? Is that fair? Okay. 1, 2. I'm running out of beans. Where's our Roan? I need him to help prep. All right. You want one, young man? Here you go. Can you reach it? Don't worry about it. Okay. What do you guys think? It's good. It's not bad, right? If you had that at home, would you like that if Mom made those? Yeah? Okay. Well, that's a good sign. So I'm doing okay. See? It's good for him. All right. I'm going to blanch the rest of these. So, this salad's super easy. The whole point, like I said, was to make something accessible. Super easy. Strawberries. The key with a strawberry, don't take off too much. All you need to do is take off that little root, okay? And I like a decent amount, so. I'm waiting. I'm going to get the wave is going to come up in a minute because I'm taking too long. So they have those little strawberry hullers. If you want the kids to do it with you, a little tiny espresso spoon, you can take that and it comes right in and does the same thing. So if you want them to help you and you don't want them using a knife, a tiny spoon works great. Okay? Does anybody know how many varieties of strawberries there are? Anybody want to guess? What do you guys think? How many do you think types of strawberries there are? 75 varieties of different strawberries. And it keeps growing every year as they naturally cross with each other. So there's like Seascape, there's a variety called Urana, there's Alpine Whites, and each one is different. A lot of times you can tell by the center on what type there is. Some are hollow, some are white in the center, some are red all the way through, some are white all exterior. There's also really flat ones that grow in sand. They're really beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna take these guys here and just quarter them. What's up? Can you have a strawberry? I think you've had one of those before, right? You've never had a strawberry ever in your life. Really, dude? Come on now. Do you think I fell off the turnip truck yesterday? No? What's a turnip truck? It's something my mom used to say. Don't worry about it. I'm sure parents out here have heard that before too, right? Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of nods. You're like, yeah, I know that one. Okay, so I'm gonna get all my fresh fava beans out here. Now, one of the things about the really small fava beans, you don't have to take them out of their second shell. If they're really tiny, just leave them in. It's not bitter. That's why most people take them out of that shell. So I'll show you the difference. I got a couple here that are really, really quite tiny. Like that one, you can leave in the shell. I mean, if you want to pick it, by all means, go for it. It'll take you all day. But this one, you definitely want. The bigger the second skin, the more bitter it becomes. Okay? So I'm just going to let these cool. So the strawberries, I try to keep them in nice shapes. So I'll do rounds. They're bored. They're like, this guy ain't giving me strawberries. I'm out of here. I get it. How many of you think you could make this at home? Pretty easy, right? That's the whole goal. Sorry, I'm trying to focus on not cutting my fingers. Just give me a sec. I like them all. I knew that was going to happen. If I do it, I'm gonna get in trouble. All right. So I got my pre-shelled that I'm gonna mix in here, and then I'm gonna shell the rest. They're all nice and cool. nice looking balance, huh? It's really pretty, springy, green and red. So this is always, what I was saying is you can see how the skin separates, see how it's got a little wrinkle to it? Then you can just squeeze them out. Am I old if I don't know who the music is anymore? I mean, does that date me or what, you know?
Do you know Run DMC?
Yeah, I know Run.
Your kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, cool. I'm down with that. I saw them. Yeah, I saw them play. That was a great show. So it's so much easier to peel these after they've been blanched. If you try to do it the first time, forget it. It's like you get marks in them, they get all scratches and beat up, but you can just squeeze them. All you need to do is pinch, put a little mark in it, and then it squeezes right out. If I'm not careful, like at the restaurant, sometimes they do that. Don't you eat that. All right, hands up. Because you listened and didn't eat that fava bean on the ground. You got a strawberry, bro. You think you would eat this salad now? No? Give me that strawberry back. It's already gone? What do you mean it's already gone? How'd you do that so fast? You're still chewing. Oh, I caught you. All right. So now I got just enough on the fava beans. One of the things to be careful of, don't use the yellow ones. Okay? I caught myself. They're just not flavorful. They're very woody. Okay. Did it? What is? Oh, it's just a bottle. It's okay. There's nothing in it. So, a couple things that I really find to be very important. When I make a salad, I always like to use fresh pepper, which we just ground today. Never use pre-ground pepper. You don't know how long it's been sitting there. Okay? It could have been ground 2 years ago, and then you get it. It has no flavor anymore. It's just hot. Okay? Pepper should have tropical notes. It should have fruit aspects to it. It is a berry. Okay? I got this balsamic, and I also make sure I don't use iodized salt. I either use kosher or sea salt. It adds flavor. Okay, let's see. So, I salt first. A little bit of black pepper. Use your hands, don't be afraid of them. You have them for a reason. Okay, never use pre-juiced citrus either, you know. We rasp everything at the restaurant, we juice everything every day. If you buy that pre-bought stuff, it doesn't have it, has chemicals in it. So, a little bit of juice. Now, lemon brings out the brightness naturally. And then the balsamic adds that natural sweetness that complements the berries. Okay. Nice extra virgin olive oil. Guys, if you buy olive oil, make sure it's in a green bottle or a can in small containers. Don't buy big ones. Clear glass, it'll actually spoil in the sunlight. It's really important. And always taste your food. Always taste your food before you feed your family and friends. Anybody who doesn't, and you're not doing your family or friends a service, right? You're like trying to make everybody happy. Food's convivial. You talk about it. It's really important. You know, it's like sometimes at the restaurant we have people complain that I taste the salads before they leave the kitchen. But that's my job. I'm trying to make sure that as a guest they come in and have a great time. So if we don't taste our food, it could be too salty, it could be too sweet, and then you did all this hard work and then it's just not right. And then nobody will eat. All right. A little more oil. A little more lemon. Pinch more salt. Now, one thing, really important, acid and herbs before salt. Less on the salt, more on the acid, okay? It opens your palate and it's natural. Salt just keeps building and building. If you salt heavy, and then you start adding lemon juice and vinegar, you can blow your palate out because the salt is very powerful. So what we do is a little bit of salt. It opens, so what does salt do naturally? It opens the pores, right? You put salt on fruit, it opens up, then you add your vinegar, your lemon, and your balsamic, and then it sucks it into the fruit, right? So salt is a natural dehydrator. That's how we cure meat. We put meat in salt and it takes out the moisture. So by seasoning this with a little bit of salt, the berries open up, and then you put in the vinegar and it sucks them in. That's why, if you look, the berries are starting to turn the same color as the balsamic. They're doing it because it's like a natural osmosis process by adding that salt. It sucks them in, so they're really getting acid to the flavor of it, okay? Now, this dish does get arugula, but I don't want to mash it up. So you can see I got a little bit of vinaigrette left in the bottom of the bowl. Some of it's vinaigrette, some of it's the juice from the strawberries. But if I put my lettuce in there in the beginning, it would get crushed. So now all I'm going to do is take a little bit of arugula with the leftover if it doesn't blow away. And it's just a tiny bit. Which it's blowing away. Wow, this is awesome. I didn't really expect that, but... All right, and then I have just a little bit of cheese. So it depends on you. If you want to make it vegan, you don't put the cheese. Okay, if you want to use Parmesan, use Parmesan. My whole thing has always been what's available, what's seasonal, what's tastes delicious is the most important thing. Know who you're buying it from, know your farmer. I mean, there's the garden right over there. Is anybody taking a look yet? There's the bees. So it's like, these are very simple things that we can do. If you don't have arugula, use watercress, right? You can't do a strawberry and green bean salad, but you can do strawberries and peas. You know, there's very simple ways to change things to make it fit for your home and what's available. So the cheese, just a little bit over the top. Hopefully this doesn't blow away. And always we finish at the restaurant with a little bit of pepper. And we rim the plate. It's got to look good. Any questions? Not bad for 5 ingredients, huh? There's a lot you can do with it. Don't be afraid of your food. Get these guys involved. You know, get a measuring cup. Work on math, right? Oh, look at the look. He's just like, no, right? Quarter of a cup, half of a cup. What does a quarter of a cup equal in grams? Start doing these weight conversions. It's great for school. This kid hates me right now. I can tell. He's like, be quiet. You know, make pancakes. Don't buy the box mix. Make it with them in the morning. Super fun. You know, you have fermentation. That's chemistry and science. You have math going on. It's a very simple, fun thing to do with your kids. Even if you grow something in a pot, whether it's basil or parsley, and they get to pick it and put it in their meal, it makes for a much more fun experience for them. Thanks, guys. Hey, what's up, dude? Captain Planet? His hair's green. Is it grass? No, okay, just checking. Woo! Thanks, everybody.